welcome to the James and Joe
Garden Show!
Now, I've been given the responsibility, thanks to someone who wrote in, who said it was my turn, to actually open the show, do the introductions, and basically take all the glory too. So,
Is that what I've been doing all this time?
excuse me, don't interrupt. My name is Joe Swift, and with me is the Right Honourable James Alexander-Sinclair. Make him sound like an MP there, didn't I? And this, as I said, we're going to repeat it because we've got it down pat. It's the James and Joe
Garden Show!
And what don't we do, James?
We
don't answer questions about...
Am I allowed to talk now?
Go.
Okay. We don't answer because you haven't told them what the question. We're not doing questions yet. We're doing the other bit. You missed the first bit.
Don't tell me how to run the show. Listen, you can't help yourself, can you?
No, I'm just being helpful.
I like to do things my way.
Okay.
We are going to be answering questions later.
All right.
This is what you want me to do. Tee it up like you do.
Yeah.
You tee it up so obviously. We'll be answering questions later. But James, what don't we answer questions
We
about?
don't do questions about dead plants, or we don't do dull questions.
Very good.
Yeah.
Don't milk your part, okay?
Right.
We will be answering questions from all over the globe. And James will be putting on his best accent from wherever those questions come from. So send them in. We would like some really quite obscure countries sending in questions. But today's show, this is the format, is that we'll do a little bit of chat about our chosen subject of the week, and then we'll do the Q&A a little bit later. And if you have your question read out, we will decide whether you get a gnome. A green gnome sent to you, and you'll become a gardening legend, a James and Joe Garden Show legend.
No, James and Joe Garden Show hero.
James and Joe Garden Show hero. I'll let him have that bit. And if you get a golden one, a golden gnome, you just become even more special, basically. That's it.
You become king.
Now, today's subject matter is Halloween versus Bonfire Night. We're sort of we're battling them off really against each other, because obviously when we were kids, Halloween was this foreign thing that happened in we still saw on some cartoons when we were kids, I guess, and it happened in another country. But now it is in competition with the good old-fashioned Guy Fawkes Bonfire Night.
I mean, yeah. Halloween, developed obviously from All Hallows Eve, which is about the dead and all that kind of stuff. And then, and actually from there, before that, it was a pagan festival called Samhain, which happened over here.
I'm glad you're here now.
I went over there. Yeah,
I really am glad you're
over
here
there. And then it became this big extravaganza in America, which I think that for many years we resisted as Brits, didn't we? We said no, we don't do that sort of thing. We won't have that.
We don't celebrate
trick
the dead.
or treating. We did that, but not the whole Halloween thing with the trick or treating and the costumes and the all of that sort of stuff, which has happened. The idea, I remember it first happening. My father being rather bewildered by the fact that there was a child knocking on his door asking for sweets.
Yeah.
And I'm never quite sure what the trick was. If you said, no, I'm not giving you anything, or I haven't got anything, what was the trick? What would happen?
Quite terrible, because we had...
so you did it. You did trick or treating.
We had an American kid who came to our primary school in the last year. So I was, 10 or 11. And so he was like, let's do trick or treating. And we were a little bit feral by this stage already. And so we didn't know what it was, but we went out with a bucket. I don't think we even bothered with the costume or anything, but we had a few stink bombs and a few bangers up our sleeves, as it were.
Yeah.
So if someone didn't give us a treat, didn't give us any sweets, or ideally a bit of cash even,
Yeah.
You might get 10p or 20p or something. If you didn't get any of that, then yeah, we used to chuck a stink bomb. I mean, we were a bit nasty.
That was a bit unpleasant, isn't it?
So there was a trick. Yeah, there was a trick.
A trick thing, because most of the time, we have. It's very sweet. Halloween, we have all the small children in the village go around, and there are little tiny people dressed as wolves and fairies and all that kind of stuff, and it's adorable. And you give them some Haribos or something along those lines, and they skip off quite happy. Quite a lot of them.
Give them 2 Haribos.
I mean, do you know? Do you remember what it is like having a child that's eaten a packet of Skittles running around your house? It's like having a sort of a rocket propelled propelled snooker ball bouncing off all the walls and over the place. So you don't want to
You
give them
probably
too
give
much.
me your old stale old Jaffa cakes.
Yeah, well, I
don't
mean,
you?
I've been
I know
more
what
than
you're-
happy to do that. No, they get special sweets bought, but they're all quite sweet and tiny.
But there's no tricks these days.
But there's no tricks. I
No
don't
one
think there
tricks
are.
them because
No.
everyone's sussed it all out. Everyone knows what's expected of them these days.
Yeah.
I think. And back then, we were knocking on people's doors, never even heard of,
No,
never even
absolutely
heard of
not.
this, and so we did dish
Well, yeah,
out quite a few tricks.
That's been the days when you was hard, wasn't it? When it was tough. It was a tough life in
Well,
those
you could
times.
chuck a stink bomb and leg it down the road,
Yeah,
and,
you're gone.
and there was nowhere they were catching you.
Do you ever do? I mean, I haven't done it, but I've read about it and heard about it. The classic doorstep trick, where you put a dog's mess in a paper bag,
Ooh.
put it on someone's doorstep, then set it alight,
Oh no!
and then ring the bell, and then they come out and they see this thing, and they think, oh, and they stamp on it.
No.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's
I
horrible.
can't-
That's really horrible.
That's a bad trick.
That's a
That
bad trick.
we're not encouraging anybody to do that. So,
But
so
also, let's face it. I mean, Halloween's got nothing to do with being outside and gardening and all that sort of stuff. Whereas Guy Fawkes,
hang on.
are we not moving on to Guy Fawkes?
No, I just want to just cover that one because it does. What it has is it has made quite a contribution, and this is something about which my wife is particularly upset. And I'm with her on this. Is the pumpkin industry?
Oh, okay.
so
fair
a
enough.
pumpkin.
Oh, I know what a pumpkin is.
A pumpkin grown, we grow pumpkins. You might grow pumpkins at some point. A crown prince or some squash are really delicious.
Yeah.
They store for a long time. You
delicious
make really
about
good.
them?
We're eating them.
Nah, come on.
Oh, you don't
Come
like a
on.
pumpkin? No,
Pumpkin
it's
what?
a
Soup?
pumpkin curry is a really good thing to have.
Pumpkin curry.
Yeah,
Have
pumpkin
you not
is
had, like,
delicious.
chicken jalfrezi?
No, I'm not sure that a pumpkin curry. A pumpkin curry is a really good is a really good thing.
Right.
Or a bit of squash. All of these sort of things.
It's
It
okay
makes
for
a good
bit,
thing.
isn't
But
No, come on. It's
No.
pumpkin soup.
yeah.
Pumpkin pie.
No, pumpkin pie is an American thing, and that's a really bad idea. I had a pumpkin pie
James,
once.
remember our fan base.
I know, but I had a pumpkin pie in Lake Tahoe once, and it was really, really horrible. I'm sure that there are other pumpkin pies that are made in other parts of America.
What was horrible?
which
Was
is-
it sweet or
it was
wasn't
just
sweet enough?
slimy, and it just didn't seem to
Yeah,
be
because
the
they're
right
just trying
thing.
to get rid of all the pumpkins that they've grown.
Exactly. So they grow all these pumpkins, and why do they grow the pumpkins? They grow the pumpkins so they can be carved. So the pumpkin carving. So there's all these pumpkins, and you see fields of them in the countryside, and you know that those pumpkins are never going to be eaten. They're just going to be used for carving, and then what's going to happen? They're just going to collapse into a mush on
Well, so
somebody's
you
doorstep.
carve them and you put a candle in the middle. And
Yeah,
light
you
them
know
up.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They
Well, that's happened over here now because my granddaughter
exactly.
now goes and picks her pumpkin
Yep.
for Halloween, in October, and goes to a field
Yeah.
who's grown these especially. This is not a British thing.
Well, this is my point, and the fact that if you're growing a pumpkin, it should be primarily there as a food source rather than a slightly dodgy decoration.
You would not- if
Because
you
they
had a-
scoop it out and then
Yeah,
they don't
But
eat
if you're
it.
choosing to grow something to eat, you wouldn't choose a pumpkin.
Well, I would choose. In fact, I will
Maybe
cast
one.
it out there to the listeners and say there are actually some pumpkins that are really, really delicious. They have a sort of nutty sweetness to them, and they're really,
You're
really
talking
good.
about a nice squash, butternut squash or
Yeah,
something.
or a pumpkin.
That's not a pumpkin.
No, but they're related to the same thing. But a butternut squash is one thing, a pumpkin is another thing. It's just bigger and chunky. And it lasts. And also, they'll store until February. That's got to be a pretty good thing,
I
hasn't
think
it?
they're
Really?
beautiful things. I do. I think they're beautiful things. And talk about pumpkin carving. One year at Malvern Flower Show, there was a pumpkin carver on site, wasn't there?
It was.
And he had a photograph of me that he'd printed onto an A4 piece of paper, and he was carving my head, my face, into this pumpkin. And I think what I remember you saying on stage is it looked more like me before he started carving it than by the time he had finished.
I may have
You're
pointed
saying I've
that
got a
out.
pumpkin face.
Yeah, but it's roughly. I mean, I've just been saying how delicious pumpkins are, haven't I?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
backtracking
You
now.
see? Yes, there was. That was at Malvern Autumn when they had these enormous pumpkins that are vast and huge. But that's in September, so that's before we get to the Halloween thing. So the
Yeah,
Halloween
it's all
thing.
the same thing. It merges into
It does
each other
merge in.
this
So,
time of
so
year.
they've got Erin's picking out her pumpkin to make into a lantern. There used to be turnips, before pumpkins came over. 'cause
Yes, I
pumpkins is
remember doing a
South
turnip.
American thing, and turnip is hard.
Yeah.
So they did them in Scotland. So you make these masks out of this to celebrate All Hallows Eve or whatever, and then it just becomes more and more so. And then what you now see is you see sort of cobwebs on people's hedges, and spiders hanging from their trees, which is quite sweet and charming. But I went to America for Halloween once a few years ago, and I was staying with these people, and they had a whole village, a miniature Halloween village laid out in their sitting room that they would open for charity. People would come and look at it.
Miniature
And the whole of the
village.
front of the house, yeah, it was like little spooky pumpkin houses and helter-skelters and all these sort of things.
Made from coming.
No, made. I mean,
Lego.
it was like a big train set sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was all on the theme of Halloween, and people would actually come and pay money for charity in order to come and look at their village. And then there was all sorts of things that went on the outside and around the garden and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
it's a big deal,
Yeah,
Halloween.
Bigger deal than Christmas, maybe. Isn't it?
I think it maybe is. I've been invited. I'm giving a talk in Canada next Halloween, so I can report back and tell you what's happening at that time.
So that's Halloween.
So Halloween, okay.
But Halloween and Guy Fawkes Night or Bonfire Night is what you call it. It's sort of merged. So you got what? Halloween is what? What date?
31st of October.
and then November the 5th.
Remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot.
Exactly. So we're celebrating a man and his gang who wanted to blow up the Houses of Parliament.
They did. Or are we celebrating the fact that they failed to blow up the House of Parliament?
Well, why do we do a big bonfire and like let rockets off? And
Well, because we're burning the guy who did it. So, okay, so
oh,
Guido Fawkes.
yeah, the guy.
Guido Fawkes, Guido Fawkes.
Guido.
Well, yeah, he basically, with some friends, I think there was one called Catesby, and I can't remember the others. Anyway, there were various people who were plotting to blow up the king. And so they snuck all this gunpowder into the cellars of the House of Parliament, waiting for the opening of Parliament. The king was going to come through, big...
Huge act of terrorism.
Yeah, exactly,
think
whole
about it
thing.
now.
And they were caught before that happened.
Yeah.
And so
we're. I've always thought that we're celebrating. But no, actually, we put him on the top. Guido.
Yeah, basically, we were celebrating the fact that he was prevented from blowing up the king and doing all that kind of stuff and blowing up the House of the Parliament. Instead, he was dragged away and I think he was tortured horribly and racked. And then we celebrate by putting a guy. I don't know whether they do that anymore. You
Put a
see
guy on
village
the top.
bonfires.
No, you don't really see a guy. You don't see a sort of figure going on the top much.
Not as much. I mean, it used to be a big thing.
I mean, it could be a modern political figure going on the top. No names.
Yes,
mentioned,
very possibly.
And just getting sort of burned at the stake. But it does. I do have amazing childhood memories of Bonfire Night, and it all being not a lot of health and safety going on.
Did you go and buy
baked potatoes?
Buy a box of fireworks.
Boxes of fireworks. We used to just go and buy and then let them out.
Oh, those were the days,
place.
weren't they?
Yeah, but I used to like it. I used to really enjoy it. And then we used to sort of into my teens and my 20s. There's a big one on Muswell Hill, Alexandra Palace, and you basically spent 2 hours stuck in a traffic jam trying to get there, and then you miss the fireworks, and then you get stuck in 2 hours in a traffic jam trying to get out of there. There was a really good one in Highbury and Islington as well.
Yeah.
And there used to be one on Hampstead Heath. But when I was a kid, we had this place called the Garden Over the Road, we called it, because it was a sort of disused piece. I think I might have talked about this before. It was a disused piece of ground. And the street sort of turned it into a community garden. There was no gardening going on there. We used to play football, and there was a little bit of woodland. It was probably tiny. It's probably like, I don't know, smaller than a quarter of an acre. But for kids to just, there was a padlock, and only if you lived in our street did you have a key to this.
Oh, so it was locked
Like
off.
it wasn't a secret garden.
Yeah, okay, that's nice.
And it was great, and we used to go and just play there all the time. I can smell the sycamore, the sycamore saplings, and we all sort of,
jumpers for goalposts,
all that sort of stuff. And we'd have a bonfire night every year over there. So it was a bit slash and burn. Everything got cut down. The coppists, I think they call it, and then we'd have this massive bonfire, and it was really exciting.
Did you have fireworks as well?
Yeah, there's fireworks.
There was all the dads setting off fireworks in various places, and
yeah,
I went to some of those, and people had parties in their gardens, and you stand over there, don't come near it. There's a lot of lighting the blue touch paper and retiring,
and then going back,
and say, oh damn, that didn't work, or the Catherine wheel that spins around twice and then stops or flies off the fence and goes somewhere else.
Yeah, or over nailed.
Yeah,
I've just had a flashback to when I first bought my first flat in Hackney, and it had this 80-foot garden, and I dug this pond out in the middle, and it was literally just a hole in the ground, and I used to have a lot of parties there, and so the hole in the ground that was going to be a pond turned into a big pit, a big pit to burn, old furniture and logs and anything we could get our hands on. And this sort of spark went up. Well, there's sparks flying everywhere. We had rockets and fireworks.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was this ash tree, massive ash tree at the back of the garden, with this huge split in it. And about sort of 2 o'clock in the morning, we realised it was on fire. This ash tree was on fire, and it was really quite bad. And so we had to get a whole chain of buckets and hoses and everything to put it out.
Did you manage? You succeed.
You got to be careful. We put it out, but it could have. It had a big sort of split and a rotten and the dead bit and loads of leaves inside that
so
were
it
really
caught.
dry, and so it did actually catch fire.
I mean, I think that it's very important now, and the people have been saying it for a while. If you are going to have a bonfire night, which is a cool thing to do, quite often hedgehogs like to go and hibernate in places like that. So you need to be very careful before you light it, and build it as late as close to the 5th of November as you possibly can. Don't have it sitting there for weeks beforehand while you slowly pile it up.
Yeah.
Try and do it all immediately and quickly.
Well, if we're going, I mean, there's all the whole issue of animals and fireworks and bangers and rockets and
dogs do not like fireworks.
Well, no, I don't think any of them. I mean, to be honest,
Cats don't like fireworks.
Cats don't
Hamsters hate them.
Hamsters.
Oh, hamsters hate a firework.
Well, so, no, you're not meant to tie the hamster onto a rocket.
No, Joseph. No. You can't start talking about tying hamsters to rockets.
No, because they really don't like that. But they come down eventually. But yeah, I mean, no, I think there is a bit of a, there's a bit of friction there between the garden owner, wildlife, bonfires, fireworks, all that sort of stuff.
I think that the general rule is if you're going to go to a fireworks display, go to an official one that's been done by somebody else rather than trying to do too much in your own garden, which has taken away the fun that we had, again, when we were children, where it was slightly amateur and slightly random. But I also think that quite a lot of people end up in A&E by the end of the evening.
Totally. We had, when we lived in Hackney, when we moved in a smaller garden, but the other side of our garden, around the back of the garden, they used to have a bonfire. Oh my, they literally went on. They bought those massive, like car battery sizes of fireworks, and they would just go on all
you put them in a dustbin
night, terrorizing the neighbourhood, and our cats absolutely, and it would go on till 2 o'clock in the morning at least. And you can't say you can't phone the police and say, "Come on,
setting off
it's
fireworks.
bonfire." Someone's setting off bonfire night. Fireworks on bonfire night.
Yeah, so bonfire night is basically more British, but much noisier.
Baked potatoes
cooked in silver foil.
Mulled wine.
Yeah. Do you not like a mulled wine?
Kath loves mulled wine. She loves fireworks. I'll be like, once you've seen a firework,
I think fireworks get boring after quite a short period of time.
Incredible fireworks.
But even then, I remember watching they used to televise the World Fireworks Championship, and it was on the television, and you would sort of look at it, and I remember looking at it and thinking, this is really boring. And then I also worked out that I was actually watching it on a black and white television. Made it even less interesting. So it's quite boring. And the commentary on okay, if you were to imagine yourself as a commentator on a firework display, said, well, look at this, and oh, look at that! Wow, isn't that amazing? It's sparkly and up there, and oh, it's gone. Oh, and there's another one. And you think, God, you must be quite imaginative to do that.
Amazing.
And this is the entry from Argentina. Whoa, how wonderful! It's
What's French? I know the French for firework.
What is it?
Feu d'artifice.
Feu d'artifice.
Artificial fire.
Do you think
Feu d'artifice, and they love them over there. We see them on the Dordogne sometimes. They let on the bridges, so they close the bridge, and then you get the reflections in the water. That's
nice.
Quite sweet.
That's quite nice.
And there's a firework factory not far from where we stay, up the road, and they go to town every year. They must spend, I think they just use all their rejects, don't they?
Yeah, all the old stuff.
And you're sitting on the river bank in the summer, and people are coming up the river, and they're letting them off from their boats and their kayaks, and it's all very atmospheric. And I've got to say that is really well done, and the music as well.
Oh yes, and I think that the place where they do them well is in China as well, because obviously that's where they were invented.
Yeah,
gunpowder invention. They've had them in China for years and years and years, and they take it quite seriously, and they're seriously big things and serious bangers and all that kind of stuff. So,
do they have fireworks at Halloween? No.
No, they don't have fireworks at Halloween. Fireworks is very definitely.
So when do the Americans let all their fireworks off?
On the 4th of July.
Okay.
For Independence Day, the day that we finally left them alone to get on with their own devices.
That's when they let off all their rockets.
There's a lot of fireworks and stuff
Because
that
you're
go on
half
there.
Scottish, you're half American. You know a lot about America.
I'm not half American.
You're half Scottish, half American. You got, aren't you? Because how do you know so much about America then?
Because I don't know a huge amount about America. I know where it is.
Well, I know where it is.
Then we're on the thing. No, I'm not half American. I'm mostly Scottish. Anyway, that's not anything to do with anything. The Halloween thing, they'd have no. Maybe they do have fireworks, but I think they mostly have pumpkins, ghosts. It's about ghosts, isn't it?
Ghosts. Is there
costumes.
Is there a drink that's related to?
Do you think you have what's a pumpkin spice latte?
Oof. Oh, don't know.
Is that a Halloween drink?
It's a way of getting it's a way of selling more drinks at that time of year and maybe getting rid of all that pulp.
Am I making myself feel like a really, really old person by saying what is a pumpkin spice latte?
Well, it's about a £5 probably. That's what it is.
Okay, so they have that, and then they have it's about ghosts and about costumes and about dressing up as something.
Yeah.
What's going to be your Halloween costume for this year? If we had to think of a Halloween costume for a Jekyll, for example. I mean, mind you, Jekyll's got a pretty good costume anyway, so probably doesn't need another one. What would you dress up as if you had to dress up for Halloween? What's your favourite fancy dress?
I don't like spooky stuff.
Doesn't have to be spooky. You can dress up as anything. It's
I'm
a fancy dress
I'm
thing.
spooky enough. I'm quite
You've got to
scary
do
enough
it.
as I am.
You're going to go as Uncle Fester.
I quite like that glow stuff that glows in the dark. I could put some like glow makeup on or something.
What, so you just look like a big pumpkin head.
No, you think that's really funny, don't you, James? Anyway, that's it for today's show.
No, I want you to tell me what your fancy dress of choice would be. Try and make it more difficult. A gardeny fancy dress. If you had to dress up as something gardeny, because this is a gardening podcast after all, we haven't spoken about gardening at all for the last 20 minutes. What would be your garden fancy dress?
Garden fancy dress. It's got to be Halloween or Guy Fawkes related.
No, anything. It doesn't have to be Halloween, because I don't think you can just be anything. It's a garden fancy dress, because Halloween is mostly about dressing up, but not necessarily dressing up as a ghost. So you're going to dress up as something gardening. What are you going to be? You're looking at me blankly.
Yeah, because it's a silly question.
No.
Okay, you answer your own questions for once first.
Okay.
Rather than throwing it over to me, because what you do is you throw it over to me, and then it gives you time to think about a much
absolutely
cleverer
right. Okay,
answer.
I am going to dress up as a bulb of fennel. What are you going to do? Because what it would be is it would be quite a big bulbous costume. My legs would be sticking out at the bottom, my head would be sticking out at the top, and I have some bit of frothy top to it. And I'd be look a little bit like Humpty Dumpty, but more fennelly.
I think that you'd look spectacular.
What are you going to dress up
I'm
as?
going to dress up as a wheelbarrow.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know. I don't have to.
You
I don't have to
go
think about the technicalities.
On all fours?
No, I'm a wheelbarrow. I'm a wheelbarrow. Right, I'm like a unicycle wheelbarrow that can just go on the wheel, and it's got the handles up in the air, and it can and that's going to be incredible. Yeah, beat that.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
I
and
like
also, I'm going to be a wheelbarrow, a standing up wheelbarrow on one wheel full of pumpkins as well. Beat that.
Okay, that's fine. When
I see
it, I will
face.
accept that. I'm just going to be a bulb of fennel.
Now, also, Guy Fawkes, what we do in the UK is we also do some crazy things, and a couple of childhood memories is one used to make a guy, and you get a penny for the guy with the thing. Basically, It's a way of begging.
The guy is basically being
people
a
don't do
dummy.
it anymore. I don't know whether kids aren't allowed to beg anymore on the streets.
I think it's discouraged.
It's discouraged just sending your child out on the streets to beg. Penny for the guy. So once I went past Kentish Town tube station, I was about 14. Went past Kentish Town tube station, and this kid, he's probably about 15 or 16, had basically got his baby brother in a pram and put a sticker around his neck thing, a little thing, saying "penny for the guy." He just
Was he called Guy?
He put his baby brother outside Kentish Town tube station. But normally you'd make them out of, old pajamas, stuff them with newspapers. It would have a balloon as a head or something. And And we used to do that, and sometimes I sit on the street corner and try and get a few quid. But me and a friend of mine, we went over the top one year, and we built in our hallway of our house. I was about 8 or 9, out of cardboard boxes and old toilet rolls and all this stuff. We built this 10-foot long guy, and we carried him. Okay, he was quite lightweight because he made it. We carried him, propped him up against Barclays Bank on the corner down the bottom. And what a hit! I mean, you could, because it was a 4-way junction.
Yeah.
And we raked it in. At that, I mean, I remember we had over 100 quid back then, which is now the equivalent of about £4 million or something. And we carried him down and just every day for about a week and just raked it in. Everyone was just thought we were so impressive, our endeavour. And we had a pointy hat, and he looked like Guy.
And did he end up on a bonfire?
Guido. He ended up on the top of our bonfire.
See, he was
in
proper.
what we call the garden
across
over
the road.
Yeah, that was the
I think
best
that's nice.
year ever
That's lovely.
for a child.
I think generally, if we're going to vote, we're going to vote, and the listeners can vote with us. If you had to choose between Halloween and Bonfire Night, which would you choose?
Well, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean,
I agree.
Bonfire Night.
We're both on Bonfire Night. We're Bonfire Nighters.
We're big in America. Remember that? Whoa,
whoa. Okay.
But there was absolutely no gardening in that topic at all, was there?
Yes, there was. We did
Apart from
pumpkins
your
and a fennel.
The pumpkins.
We did some of it.
Pumpkins.
Is it question time?
Yeah, we're moving on to question time now, James Alexander-Sinclair. So here are the questions that I've just been given, seeing as I'm compere for the podcast.
For a one-off.
Now, we have 3 here.
Okay.
You choose.
Am I going to go for I'm going for the middle, straight down the middle.
I made you choose that. That's my power.
Straight down the middle.
I'm like a magician, like one of those.
Okay. Shall I read this out?
Yeah, you go for it.
This is
it
from
does it say
Cynthia.
From?
Cynthia.
Cynthia from?
Cynthia. I used to have a girlfriend called Cynthia.
Funny,
No, often you don't often hear of a Cynthia anymore, do you?
Synthesizer.
Cynthia, and you'll be pleased to know that Cynthia comes from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, geez. Okay.
We're going down Texas again.
Yeah, you're
the
good
Lone
with
Star
Texas.
State. Which do you prefer? An elegant Victorian... Oh, God, this is not good. An elegant Victorian greenhouse full of exotics with comfortable seating, or a large utilitarian glasshouse kitted out with lots of bench space and a misting system.
Oh, so is it like a room that you go and sit in?
Yeah.
Is it like a fancy little
conservatory?
Yeah. Or
sort
is
of
it
thing.
a proper working greenhouse, glass
Yeah,
house?
with a proper thing with lots of seed trays and hose pipes and misting systems and all that kind of stuff.
The latter.
You'd rather have that?
Well, I'll have a seat in there as well.
Yeah, you see, you can't have both. It
And I
says
have a
or
radio.
in capital letters, or you can have, and what you're doing is you're sort of combining it. So it's either the elegant Victorian greenhouse, and if you're in Texas,
you're making up the rules now, are you?
No, I'm just reading the question. You're coming from Texas, which means that it would be
Do you need a
you'd be
greenhouse in
smoking a
Texas?
cheroot,
Yeah. Okay.
and you'd be maybe wearing a Stetson hat
Yeah.
and some cowboy boots,
Okay.
and maybe a finely cut white suit, a little bit like like Colonel Sanders, but without the chickens.
Snakeskin belt.
A snakeskin belt, maybe,
Yeah.
and you'd be out there and you'd be drinking a Tom Collins, and you go out into your
What's in
greenhouse
that?
full of exotics, and you're I can't remember whiskey,
Gin?
isn't it, or is that whiskey sour? Anyway, something Texan, and you go out there and you sit on your comfortable seating, and you look at your house full of exotics, or you're in your dungarees.
Yeah.
And your slightly battered straw hat. Can you see the Texan farmer going into the utilitarian greenhouse and pricking out your seedlings?
Well, you've really taken it to the extremes there.
I have. I've taken it as far as I
still
possibly
like the
can from
working
Cynthia.
greenhouse.
You want the working
I
greenhouse?
want the working greenhouse, but I'm still having a bench in it because it's my greenhouse. I'm having a radio in there as well. What about you?
I think I would go. It's a large utilitarian greenhouse, glasshouse. We can be in there together, can't we? I quite like taking cuttings. I quite enjoy pootling around, taking cuttings in the greenhouse. But on balance, I also love a Victorian greenhouse full of exotics. And the way that I've described it, I quite like the idea of the well-cut white suit and the cowboy boots,
Yeah, I can
which
see
would
you.
not be
I can
suitable
see
in the
you that.
utilitarian glasshouse, but would work in that. So I'm going to go for the elegant Victorian greenhouse full of exotics with comfortable seating.
Fair enough. But you know what? I'm me being quite liberal here and easygoing, unlike you. You can take cuttings in there if you want.
Can I?
Yeah, you can take a few
And
cuttings.
do you know? And because in the spirit of that, I'm going to let you have a sofa in the utilitarian greenhouse.
I don't want a sofa.
You said you
The
want to.
sofa's going to go hot and soggy, and I just
you want a chair?
I just want a simple bench
Okay, you can have
with
a
a
simple,
back on it.
a simple bench with a back on. So that's Cynthia from Dallas, Texas.
Thank you.
Cynthia from Dallas, Texas. I think that's a nice question. I vote for a gnome. Do you vote for a gnome?
Definitely.
Okay, there we go, Cynthia.
Okay, right. Heather from Taunton. From Taunton.
Oh, from Taunton.
Taunton in Somerset.
All right.
Or Somerset.
All right, yeah.
Taunton.
Taunton,
I'll
Somerset.
be going through Taunton next week, I think.
Really indeed.
What gardening fads of previous years are you pleased to see the back of?
Okay.
Are there any that you have changed your mind on over time? I, for example, loved my decking when I put it in 10 plus years ago, but now it's old, like an ice rink in winter, and is rotting. It also reminds me of my ex-partner. What? Like an ice rink in winter and rotting. Oh dear. Who installed it, in brackets, badly, along with the shed on top. I cannot wait to remove it next year and smash it all up.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my, Heather.
Heather. Well,
All
I can
right,
understand.
Heather, okay.
Okay, we're going.
Easy now.
We're rocking with Heather's pain here. She's
There's
basically.
a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. We've got gardening fads. Have you changed your mind over time? For example, decking 10 years and then it goes downhill.
Do you think that was a Titchmarsh decking? Do you think that was a Titchmarsh inspired?
No, that's well over 10 years ago. We're talking.
I suppose it is, isn't it?
30 years ago.
Yeah, for ground force stuff. All right.
Yeah. So I bet he put the grooves the wrong side up, and he probably didn't treat over the screw, the cuts and everything.
No, he wouldn't have done right. And not a decent enough foundation, not lifted out of the ground. The drainage would have been wrong.
Probably
Also,
cheap
he
timber.
sounds like a really bad kind of partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he's your ex-partner.
Yeah, no. Well, I agree. I think we should have got rid of him.
Okay, so are there any things that you've changed your mind over time? I think I used to render quite a lot of block work and paint it, as sort of walling or level changes, retaining walls, and gave that contemporary sort of thing.
Yeah.
And also it was cheaper than building brickwork or really nice stonework, and gave an opportunity to put a colour, like a flat plane of colour.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I used to do that quite a lot, and I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that for years.
What do you do with your block work then?
I don't really tend to do block work.
So you're
doing
doing
more stonework,
brickwork and
maybe we've just
stonework.
got better clients.
That may well be, because I've still done the occasional render or coloured render. This actually just
Have you done
can
that
I just stop
recently?
this? This is turning into quite a boring answer.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's about. I mean, we got it, but it's my fault. I shouldn't have carried on talking about render beyond the allotted span.
No. I did the render. You come up with something else.
I know. I'm just trying to think if there's something else that is slightly more interesting. There was at one point.
What, more interesting than my render? Is that what you're trying to say?
Your render has rendered me speechless, very slightly. Okay, so big gardening crazes. Yeah, obviously there was the sort of ground force blue. That was a bit of a craze that people went through for a while.
Yeah.
I think that was
a lot of blue painted fencing
and blue
decking.
pots.
Yeah, we talked about glass chippings and glass
Yeah,
mulches and crushed CDs and all that sort of thing. No, this is something that you've changed your mind about over time.
Well, I mean, the first part of the question is what
something
things that we
put
want
in-
to have seen. That,
You've put in a garden that you wouldn't now.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
adapting Heather's question
yeah,
and
no,
keeping it simple.
I think that there probably are various things that I've put in, but have I put them in because they were a fad, or because they were a fashion, or because they were just a really bad idea on my part, which seems more likely? But if you think of gardening, I mean, I tell you the one thing that I have changed my mind about a lot. I don't know whether I've spoken about this before, but when I first started gardening, I was determined to be an enfant terrible, and to be cutting edge, and to do everything differently to as it had been done before, and think, all that stuff, that's old hat. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that.
But did you consciously think that?
And I constantly thought
Did you?
that. I particularly thought about roses, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I don't. Roses are past their day. They're old-fashioned and they're fuddy-duddy, and I'm not going to put any roses in my gardens of any sort. So I didn't for quite a long time. I didn't plant any roses, and then I realised that was just a really stupid thing to do.
Well, I'm the same. No, I didn't put roses in
Yeah, you
gardens for
didn't,
years, and
yeah.
now I do put roses in.
I don't think
But
I've
I know,
planted
but
a
it's
garden
not
without a rose for
It's
ages.
because we're quite old now.
Well, that's the point. You see, so I thought that roses were old-fashioned and fuddy-duddy, and now we're old-fashioned and fuddy-duddy,
Exactly.
and therefore, I mean, I don't know whether the young designers have got. They must be putting roses in because roses, you can't really plant a garden without a rose, can you?
Yes, you can.
I know a rose is going to bring so much more to it. So I don't think I do. I don't think I would plant a garden without a rose in it. Some sort of climbing rose, a shrub rose, a bush rose, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, you've really
anything
avoided
except
the
for a
question, Fancy.
standard.
It's got
No, I
nothing to do with
haven't.
fads.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that was a
let's
fad.
move on anyway. I think it's a good question, and also I think
Heather.
I think Heather needs a green gnome.
She does need a
because
gnome.
she needs calming down a bit.
Well, I mean, partly that.
When she
also
says, "I cannot wait to remove it next year and smash it all up," I'm
That's
worried
quite
she's
aggressive.
not talking about her decking. That it's actually she's projecting
yeah.
the ex-partner onto her decking. And actually, she should have got the brief right on her decking. It's not, you can't blame it all on him or her, whoever put the decking in. It's a complicated one, that.
You know, we've spoken on occasions about you having a second career as a counsellor.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is an illustration of how good you would be at it.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's
agree.
empathetic. I think that's sympathetic. That's all of those things together. But I think that Heather needs a gnome because I think that the gnome will look after her and keep an eye on her, and they look out for each other.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to hand the next one to you because it's another one from America, but also it's a really long question. And because you haven't had all that much input in my my curation.
Yeah, okay.
I've curated this.
You have curated this podcast.
You have. Going to let you.
Oh, bloody hell.
James.
Susan from Suburban, Massachusetts. What do you think the difference between Suburban, Massachusetts and Massachusetts is?
Well, it's the suburban area. It'll be the suburban
why does she need
part
to tell us that?
of Massachusetts.
Do you know the Bee Gees song Massachusetts?
Oh, go on, sing it. You
I don't know if I can do a full center. Massachusetts. Or something. I can't mean it goes. It's Massachusetts, and I remember that there was some joke somewhere about it was about false teeth.
Yes,
Massachusetts.
Massive two sets.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts, exactly.
That was a punchline.
But I can't think. I wish we had more music on this podcast because then we could make Louis really cross by trying to find songs. I would like to play a little snippet from the Bee Gees singing Massachusetts.
We have to pay for that.
I don't. Okay. Well,
So it's
you just
much
have
better
to
if
have
you just
music.
sing it.
Massachusetts. No. Here in suburban Massachusetts, there's pressure to maintain a yard so it meets the neighbor's standards. Now, this is an interesting point here. I sometimes find myself caving to that pressure as almost all of my garden is visible to people walking by.
Yeah.
I'm in danger of crossing into the territory of worrying too much about everyone else's taste more than mine. My question is, do you have any suggestions for something I can add to my yard that might give me the rush of feeling as though I was being unfaithful to my neighbors without being so outrageous that they end up filing for divorce?
Oh, wow.
Okay, so basically...
I'll just say that I don't think that was suburban Massachusetts accent. I think that was a little bit bordering on the rural.
Oh, do you think it was too rural?
No, I liked it. But
Here in suburban Massachusetts, there's pressure to maintain a yard so it meets the neighbor's standards.
That's better.
Do you think that's urban Massachusetts?
Yeah, that's suburban. I think that's good.
Okay, so you've got pressure to maintain the yard. By yard, she obviously means garden that meets the neighbour's standards. So it's the idea
So what
of
is
having
the standards? It's a
well,
law.
I don't
Is it a
know.
lawn with a picket fence thing? Are we talking here?
I don't think it is. I think it's more complicated than that. I sometimes find myself caving into that pressure. So her garden is almost all visible to people walking by. So what she's doing is she's thinking about what everybody else is thinking about. She's worrying about having her garden judged by the people passing by, which again is something that we've spoken about before, isn't it? My question is, do you have any suggestions of something I can add to my yard that might give me the rush of feeling as though I was being unfaithful? So she wants something. She wants.
She wants to be subversive.
She wants to be a bit subversive. She wants to feel as if she's being unfaithful to my neighbours without being so outrageous that they end up filing for divorce. Oh, wow. What she wants to do is she wants the equivalent of, I don't know, maybe kissing somebody at the office party, but not actually dragging them into the stationery cupboard for further action.
What, a plant that represents that?
Yeah, a plant that represents
You know
that.
what? Nothing is springing to mind at the moment.
I just
I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it's something. I mean, Massachusetts, you suddenly put a cactus in there. Do you think that's saucy enough? It wouldn't really survive.
It wouldn't
in
survive.
Massachusetts.
You've got to put something that's going to survive.
Something that's a bit impertinent. Something that's a bit cheeky. Something that's a bit. However, I mean, traditionally,
Well, you could go down the topiary. You could have a clipped figure of your neighbours.
you could have
You could have. Okay, so I'm really thinking tangentially here.
Okay.
But you could have, 5 or 6 clipped figures of people walking along as if they are the people just outside your garden, walking along the street, or something, maybe looking back and waving at them, or even maybe doing something ruder.
I like the topiary figures walking past. I think that's quite
like
fun.
that?
Yeah, I did.
Because I can't think of a single plant, so we've got to think.
I did a
figuratively.
trellis once.
Yeah.
In the shape of a bus queue, and there was a bus stop, and then there were a row of people that came down, and we climbed plants up it. It looked quite cool. So it was like a sort of trellis of people. I like the idea of the topiary thing. And maybe you look at the topiary figures and you say, oh, that's nice. And then you look a bit closer and you realize that actually
it's you.
It's you.
It's you looking back at yourself.
Or they're naked, or it's the bank manager, or something like that. And you recognize them and think, oh, gosh, it's that person. And so that would just give her a little frisson or something. So maybe if we clipped people in use or animals or something along those lines, would that work?
Yeah, or what about a little dog with its cocking its leg up on a tree?
Something like that. A little dog cocking its leg up on a tree. And what would be even better is that if they were in pots and you could move them around.
Yeah.
And they could move and say we go that way, and sometimes they're coming this way, and then you have little you can put them in wheels in pots. Are we going too far now?
Sounds a little bit.
I think maybe it's a little bit too much, but I think that the idea of having something maybe a little raunchy in the topiary department, that would help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the idea of cocking your leg up at them, at your neighbours, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but so that they look at it and they think, and there's a sudden intake of breath.
Yeah,
and then they realize, but they're not much so that they're going to complain.
Report you.
I think that's a lovely question. I like that question very much indeed. I think Susan from Suburban, Massachusetts. Do you think it's just a matter of just being louder?
Yeah, you have a go at that.
Here in Suburban Massachusetts, no, now I sound as if I'm reporting from the scene of a murder. Here in Suburban Massachusetts, there's pressure to maintain a yard. No, I need to do some work on my American accents.
On your massive
on my massive Chusets.
Anyway, well that's it. I think, isn't it, for this week?
I think so. I think we've done our stuff and we've done our time.
From the James and Joe Garden Show podcast, it's been a good one. We've handed out nothing but green gnomes to all the questions that came in. We've dissected the difference between Bonfire Night and Halloween, of which there's no relationship whatsoever, I think we've discovered. And there's nothing really to do with gardening in there either. But that doesn't. Some weeks you hit a gardening spot. Some weeks you sort of miss it a little bit.
Sometimes we just skate along the edge of it.
We do.
Yeah.
Anyway, until next week. Goodbye.
Hang on.
Oh, hang on. I knew I'd miss something.
Hang on. Just hang on here 1 second. There's a couple of things that I feel that we need to say.
Yeah.
First of all, what I would like you all to do, please, is just hit follow, and so that an episode drops into your downloads every single week without you having to lift a finger, Joe. Not a single finger. The other thing that I would like to point out is that we've given out some names, which is good. I'm very pleased. We like giving out names. We like sending names across the face of the world, don't we? But what we'd really like is if you can possibly bear to come and give us a review on Apple or 5-star us on Spotify or something like that.
Especially this one that I've compared. That would mean a real lot. That would mean a lot to me. But I think I'm going to hand back the mantle to you next week.
Well, we'll see how it goes. And what I'm pleased about is that you've proved yourself competent. In many ways.
Very nice of you.
And I think it would be nice if we shared it around a bit. That would be a good thing. But, okay, so and if you would like more of this, what would they do if they want more of this?
If they want more of this, they can subscribe to Scribehound.
Yep.
And you can get ad-free listening, I believe.
Yep.
and it will download into your inbox every week.
It will do all of that.
And as well as us, you can get all the other Scribehound features and the writers and the videos and everything that's coming out from Scribehound Gardening, which is a wonderful
Really
thing.
quite fun stuff.
Yeah.
From fun people and stuff that will surprise you and will entertain you and will educate you, will inspire you, and will give you a little wriggle of jiggle up your backbone.
Absolutely. I mean, and it will make you a sexier gardener.
You keep coming back to that one, don't
Well,
you?
because you said it and we've proved it. And I think it cuts through that one.
Okay, to all of you out there, you sexy gardeners, you sexy thang, you, we will see you next week. Thank you very much indeed.
You took over at the end, didn't you? Bye-bye.